Hi everyone, I hope you're doing okay. My name is Eliz and I'm back to share my thoughts with you. So, last week I made a video on domestic violence. It's such a broad topic that one can't exhaust in a video or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, no. But today I'd like to talk about the why factor, why women or ladies stick to abusive relationships and marriages. So, it's actually a very complicated question and it's hard to understand, but I'll try my best. And I know that a lot of people will be able to relate to some of the things I'll be mentioning. So, I'd like to put this out there that a lot of people see red flags. That is red flags that indicates that this person you're about to stick with the rest of your life is an abusive person or is going to be an abuser, but then you just flag it off and just put it under the carpet and walk down the aisle, and boom, you are in a marriage or a relationship that is abusive. While there are some who kind of do not see it clearly and they end up in abusive marriages and relationships. Okay, so back to what I said, I would be talking about the why factor. I tried to make this video as brief as possible. So the first thing I actually noted down, most of the things I'll be sharing here is from mentalhealth.net, an American Addiction Center resource. That is the site I got most of the things I'll be sharing, and I'm sure a lot of us would relate to that. So the first I would like to actually say is the fact that some people do not leave or get stuck in abusive relationships and marriages because of the fact that they are economically dependent on their abusers. And she begins to think to herself, if I leave this relationship now, how do I fend for our children? That is in a relationship where children are involved. How do I fend for the children? How do I fend for myself? How do I survive economically if I leave this relationship or marriage? So that is one of the things that abusers use as a weapon to actually cage their victims or their so-called loved ones. Okay, and another, I would like to brush them quickly. Another one is the fact that the victims themselves believe that it is the proper thing to do, like to stay in the relationship is the proper thing to do according to either their religion or their cultural background. So if you belong to a religion that doesn't believe in divorce, for instance, yes, divorce, they think to themselves, is the proper thing to do is to actually stick with this person, to stick with the person that is abusing them. And that is aside from those that do not even realize that they're being abusive. We're talking about those who actually realize. And another thing is the circle of abuse. Now, there's one thing about the circle of abuse that I have noticed. There are some abusers that are abusive today, and after the event has occurred, they now come back to the victims and apologize. They're so remorseful about it. They weep, they go down on their knees, and they're sorry about what they've done. And after a while, they show love and care. At that point, the victim, that period where the abuser is all the loving, caring, shows all the TLC and all that, they tend to forget and forgive their abusers. And that so there is actually this sweet moment before the next abuse happens. And so when it happens the next time, the victim thinks to herself that, hey, maybe I did something to actually trigger the anger that that is displayed by my so-called loved one or abuser. So So the circle continues. After a while, the person becomes remorseful. I'm sorry. The victim forgives and let it slide. There is a moment of peace, then there is a moment of trouble. So at that point, it is difficult for a victim to actually make up their mind to actually leave an abusive relationship or an abuser, because it doesn't happen constantly. Now, another aspect of the circle of abuse is the one that happens consistently. The abuser keeps attacking consistently. Now, research has shown that it is easier for victims to actually leave the abuser if it happens constantly. It is easy for the person to just wake up, oh, I'm tired, I can't do this, I can't live with this anymore, so I would just leave. It's easier than for the one that becomes sorry and the victim forgives and everything moves on before another circle of abuse happens. So that's another one. And another is low self-esteem. This is the worst of all. Low self-esteem. The victim is afraid of being alone. They feel they're never going to find someone better. They feel they're damaged to an extent that no one is going to love them, no one is going to accept them. So the best place they could be is the best place that they are now. So they prefer to be stuck where they are. And another is the fact that abusers say some certain things to victims that make them feel like, hey, you're overreacting. Yes, we have abusers who would come out and tell them after you've beaten or you've verbally abused or sexually abused uh, 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 their so-called loved one, they tell the person that you're overreacting or you did me wrong. Such phrases that would make the person feel bad and just kind of make them feel responsible for what has happened to them. They make them feel responsible for the abuse that was meted on them. I think this video is already long, so I'll cut it now and I'll make another and I'll upload. But for now, enjoy what I've said so far.